Good morning, everybody. This is Kathy Elkins in the Life Division with Premier Marketing. I have on the phone with me North American, and from North American, I have with me Andre Herrera. He is the VP of Regional Sales, or Regional Vice President, I guess. Sorry, I messed that up for you, Andrew. So, good morning. How are you doing today?
Doing well. Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate you joining us today and helping us out with this topic we're going to be talking about. I was just telling Andrew, I said I really like the process of doing a guaranteed indexed universal life plan over a regular GUL plan for the many options that they have and the ability to be able to show your clients a little bit extra benefits versus other carriers or other agents showing a regular GUL to your clients. So I'm going to let Andrew tell us everything about their product and how it works, and we'll go through questions at the end. So we do have a question area that you can type in your questions and we'll ask them at the end. So Andrew, please explain to us a little bit about North American and how our agents can be working with you with this product.
Absolutely. Thank you so much again, Kathy, and everyone at Premier Marketing for the opportunity to be with you virtually this morning. As Kathy mentioned, I just want to share here in the minutes that we have together a little bit about our product, the Protection Builder IUL, which is a GIUL, so it's a Guaranteed Index Universal Life Policy. We've titled this, Guaranteed Universal Life with a Kick. I'm sure many of you, if you've been in the insurance business for a while, you're familiar with, what we call GUL, Guaranteed Universal Life Policy. And when you think about it, GUL is essentially, it's almost like a term policy that lasts forever, right? Like you can get a guarantee that'll last, beyond a lifetime. And that's the benefit, and what's been attractive about that product is many times clients do need something that's going to last forever, right? They know that a term policy might only last 10, 15, 20 years, and you need something that's going to protect them long term, especially if they're wanting to leave, money to family, to a charity, pay off estate taxes, whatever it might be, clients need a policy that can last forever, and GUL has always been a great product for that. But, fast forward to where we're at now, I really like this product in GIUL. Just a few things to note, and I'll talk about it here shortly in our portfolio. But this product has really become the number one guarantee product in North American's portfolio. So this morning, three things I kind of want to go over. I want to talk about the product, go over some of the features that are unique to our Protection Builder IUL. More importantly, I think for you is show you ways that I see producers utilizing this product to provide solutions to clients today, and then talk about, just a little bit a brief commercial on North American as a company. So if I take a step back and look at North American's entire product portfolio, I'm not going to go through every single product today, but we're going to focus on the Protection Builder. But I do want to highlight, that we do have a diverse product portfolio. We have everything from term all the way on the left, to that GUL product, which we call our custom guarantee, the Protection Builder IUL, which is our GIUL, and that's what I'm going to highlight today. We have an accumulation IUL product in our Builder Plus 3, and then we have a single premium product in the Smart Builder IUL. It used to be that our custom guarantee was kind of our flagship product in the guarantee space, again, because there's a lot of clients that need a guarantee product. But what we did about, I would say about 18 months ago, is we matched the pricing on our Protection Builder to the custom guarantee. So prior to that, it used to be that the Protection Builder product was about 2 to 3% more expensive. And we said, you know what, we're going to lower the pricing on that product, make it match the GUL product. So now you can get the same guarantee for the same premium, and you have upside potential, right, in a GIUL product. So really the client is benefiting as soon as we made that change. And oh, by the way, the targets are higher on a GIUL product, so benefited the producer as well. CCT, I'll talk about that here in a second as it relates to our entire product portfolio, but specific to this product. So again, what's really unique about this product? Well, lifetime guarantee. Well, what does that mean, Andrew? Does that mean the guarantee goes to 95? Does it go to 100? You can dial the guarantee in this product all the way to age 120. Again, you can dial the guarantee all the way to age 120. So if you want to show a client a guarantee to 100, you can build a case that way. If the client says, you know what, I've got longevity in my family, I need a guarantee that's going to go past 100. Absolutely, you can provide that as well. Again, we see oftentimes people will design this where the guarantee will go to 105, 110, all the way up to 120, however long the client needs to feel comfortable with that. But you can guarantee that death benefit, again, from the onset, as long as that client needs. Meanwhile, that's not the end of the story. With the GUL, that would be the end of the story. Here, you also have cash value potential that only an IUL can provide, right? So you have that downside protection if the market, because this is tied to an index. So assuming it's tied to an S&P 500 index, if the market goes down 20%, obviously we know the market is down year to date right now. And so the client doesn't have to worry about losing cash because, again, there's a floor on that of 0%. So if the market goes down, 10, 15, 20%, the client doesn't have to experience any of that in their cash value. But when the market goes up, they get to participate in some of that, depending on what the cap is on the product or that particular index. And again, the client is usually buying this for a guarantee, so it's nice to have that cash value growth just as an additional bonus the client can tap into if they need. We've got a premium deposit agreement. What that means is if the client, were to come into a large inheritance, or maybe they just want to pay one single premium on this and say, what, we got a lot of money right now, we want to pay one premium and be done, they can put that into a premium deposit agreement that's currently paying 2%. And then that allows that to once you put in the PDA, you can spread the premiums out over 10 years. So up to 10 years, they can spread the premiums out 3, 5, 7, up to 10 years into the product. And so I guess the best way to think about that is similar to funding a SPIA and having the SPIA fund a life insurance policy. That's what our PDA currently does. Again, that's crediting 2%. So oftentimes we'll see a client who only wants to pay one premium will put the money into the PDA that's tied to this product, and then that'll pay out over several years and have them gain that interest, which of course means that they're going to have more dollars working for them, giving them a higher death benefit. This product, another unique feature is it has living benefits. And again, I'll go into our living benefits on this product here in a minute. One of the neat features I like that we added to this product a little over a year ago was a premium recovery endorsement. Some clients, or producers will often call this our ROP feature. And so what this means is the client has an exit strategy, essentially. In year 15, they can walk away with 50% of their premiums. And in years 20, 25, so years 20 or 25, there's two windows there, they can walk away with 100% of their premiums back. So, for example, if you think about, again, the old GUL days where you would buy a guarantee, let's say you wanted the product to guarantee all the way to 100. Well, if the client changed their mind down the road, there's no cash value in a GUL policy. There's no exit strategy. Here, the client can say, what, I want a guarantee, let's dial that all the way to age 100. But if the client changes their mind in 20 years and says, what, I want out of this, my needs have changed, or I need cash, or whatever the circumstance is, there's an exit strategy where the client can say, what, I can get all of my premiums back in years 20 or 25. Of course, in year 15, they get 50%. But it's nice to know that essentially you can keep the policy for as long as intended, right? And of course, it'll pay out a death benefit at the end. Or you can have this neat, ROP feature and say, I've got exit strategies in year 15, 20, 25. Alternatively, of course, there's cash value in the product as well that's growing. And if the index performs, then they can always tap into that as well. So there's really a lot of features in this product that provide some flexibility for the client. The premium guarantee rider, which I alluded to earlier, that's essentially the mechanism that allows this product to guarantee the death benefit. Again, you can dial that all the way up to age 120. And the accelerated death benefit endorsement, well, those are the living benefits that I've mentioned before, and I'll kind of highlight here now. This is, I like to call them the CCT. This is found, these living benefits are found on all of North American's products, by the way. So our term, our GUL, our GIUL, all the products I mentioned before in that previous slide, you'll find these living benefits on all of our products. And so essentially, how do they work is the following. Our critical illness, that will pay out a critical illness benefit if there's a triggering event. We have 5 triggering events. Now, 3 are really the most common and the most likely. And that's cancer, heart attack, stroke. Again, cancer, heart attack, or stroke. Any one of those triggering events, you can accelerate a portion of that death benefit under the critical illness rider. The two not really common ones are kidney failure or organ transplant. But all five of those could be triggering events. So if you have a client who purchases this policy and let's say, 20 years they have a heart attack, well, they can tap into some of the funds from this death benefit, and basically their death benefit would be reduced by the amount that they accelerate. But it's nice to know that if they have one of those sort of triggering events, again, they can tap into this life insurance policy to access some cash if they need to. Under the chronic illness rider, how you can accelerate that is the client cannot perform 2 or more activities of daily living. Now, cognitive decline is also included in that. So you can think of Alzheimer's and dementia are 2 additional ways that someone can access the chronic illness rider. That is a 24% acceleration. So easy math, if you have $1 million policy, you can accelerate up to $240,000. And again, that's annual. So if the client accelerates, $240,000 in year 1, their death benefit would be reduced by that amount. And then year 2, they can do another 24% acceleration. They can keep going until they've maxed out the accelerations on that. Of course, we've got a $2 million policy max, one of the highest in the industry. Most carriers, if you're familiar with the chronic illness rider, usually cap it at $1 million. North American caps theirs at $2 million. This does not have to be permanent. And so, again, a lot of other carriers will say to access the chronic illness benefit, the insured cannot perform, 2 or more activities of daily living, and it has to be permanent. With North American, it's just 180 days. So if my doctor, says, Andrew, you can't, bathe yourself and feed yourself, and we expect that to last, maybe 6 to 9 months, I can tap into this chronic illness rider and utilize some cash if I have an event, even if I'm likely to recover at some point in the future. It does not have to be permanent with North American. And the terminal illness rider, well, that's essentially, kind of a worst case scenario. If you have 2 years or less of life expectancy from your doctor, then you can accelerate up to 90% of the death benefit. Again, 2 years or less of life expectancy, you can accelerate. And you can do multiple accelerations, right? So this isn't ideal, but for example, if a client, were to have a heart attack 1 year, they could tap into the critical illness rider. And if they had some other sort of illness that they couldn't do 2 activities of daily living, they could tap into the chronic illness rider. So again, you can do multiple accelerations from this, and your death benefit just continues to be reduced by however much you tap into that. Again, this is automatically included on the policy, no additional cost to the client up front. It's just a discount factor on the back end, and this is included on the protection builder. But as I mentioned, these living benefits are included on North American's entire portfolio of life insurance products. So now I've highlighted a little bit about what the protection builder is and how it works. I really want to talk about some solutions on how we see this being utilized, out with the public. The first is, one that I came across, years ago with a financial advisor who often utilized this as an additional asset. And I remember the conversation I had with him, and he said, Andrew, one of the struggles with life insurance is often when you get the client to recognize the value of it, there's still hesitancy of, okay, now I got to pull out my checkbook and I've got to write a check for this premium, right? And so what this advisor realized was life insurance needs to be a part of their comprehensive financial plan. And so I don't need to ask the client to stroke a new check, to pay the premium. It's simply a repositioning of assets that he was already managing. And so this example here, you've got a 6-year-old female, $1 million in AUM, so $1 million invested assets, with their financial advisor. And the client says, this $1 million really, I'm living my retirement off other funds. The goal here is just to maximize this money for, my kids, my grandkids, my beneficiaries. And so what we look at here is how does life insurance help with that? In the dark line, which is the line below, you can see that if the client has $1 million in AUM, we're going to assume that grows at 5% annually. The financial advisor could say, we're going to keep managing this $1 million. We're going to leave this in the AUM account. It's going to grow with 5% year over year. And, you're 6 years old today. Over the next, remainder of your life expectancy, so on and so forth. That's going to continue to grow, and that'll pass on to your heirs like you intended to. Instead, though, if the advisor said, you know what, we're going to use 3% of the funds I'm already managing, and we're going to reposition that to pay for a guaranteed life insurance product, and we're only going to pay premiums on that for 10 years. And we're going to buy a guaranteed death benefit that's going to last, the remainder of your life. And so immediately, what that purchases in a death benefit, if you add that to the portfolio that the advisor is already managing, you can see that light green line at the top, you can see that that is more money that's going to pass on to the heirs when you add life insurance to a financial portfolio. And in this example, that 3%, which is $30,000 premium for 10 years, buys a guarantee of about a little shy of $800,000 guaranteed death benefit that lasts all the way to age 100 in our Protection Builder product. We're assuming, of course, that she's standard non-tobacco in this example. If she were preferred, that would even buy more death benefit, which would even be a higher, portfolio that she would pass on to her heirs. But again, that combined portfolio now of 1718 million, that will continue to grow, right? Because the death benefit, that's locked in. So if the market dips, that's never going to go down. But we know that the remaining funds are going to continue to grow at 5%. And you can see that for most of her life expectancy, the portfolio with life insurance outpaces the portfolio without life insurance. Now, it looks like about 27, 28 years in, which would be about age 87, 88 for her, the portfolio without life insurance outpaces the portfolio with life insurance. But I would argue that the higher benefit you provide to this client early on, the lack of volatility in that death benefit, the tax-free nature of that death benefit to her heirs, and the living benefits, if she becomes sick, remember, she can tap into the critical, the chronic, the terminal illness rider, that she doesn't have purely having a portfolio in the market. I would argue that all those features combined provide her with a better solution. And in all likelihood, her life expectancy is probably not going to be, 87, 88. So it's likely that this will come to realization before that. And again, she'll have been better off combining her portfolio and life insurance. Again, this is a solution that we often see financial advisors use, especially if they're managing money, because they don't have to, go to the client and convince them, hey, I need you to pay more premium. It's just simply a repositioning of assets. Mr. and Mrs. Client, we'd like to take 3% of the money. It doesn't have to be 3%, right? It can be 1%, 2%, 3%, whatever the client is comfortable with, saying we're going to reposition that, buy you a guaranteed death benefit that's going to last, beyond your life expectancy. And that way, your goals will have been met. And guess what? You get to pass more money on to that next generation. Moving along, another example that we often see guaranteed, this Protection Builder product being utilized, and this is probably more, relevant here in the Midwest. I'm located in Des Moines, Iowa, so there's a lot of farmers out here. So I apologize if you are not in the part of the country that is in tune with the ag industry, but really this example can be related to any type of business. What we're seeing here in this example is a 70-year-old father owns a farm. The farm is $2 million in value. And in addition to that farm, which is probably the largest asset, he also has $1 million in outside assets, right? So that can be money in the bank, money in investment account, it's outside of the farm. So $2 million farm, $1 million outside. And the goal is to leave the farm, right? Because he's ready to retire. He's ready to ride into the sunset. He's saying, you know what, my son who's worked with this farm, worked with me side by side for so many years, I want to leave the farm to him. Well, the kid, that son is not the only child. In fact, he has two other children outside of the business, right? They could live in other states. Maybe one's a teacher, 2 states over. Another one maybe works in the city doing another job. But again, he wants to leave the farm to the son. Well, what would that look like, right? How does that inheritance play out? Again, $3 million estate because it's made of a $2 million farm, $1 million outside assets. And the son who works side by side with him, that's who's going to inherit the farm. So he's going to get essentially a $2 million inheritance by getting the farm passed on to him. And we know, again, that dad has $1 million in other assets, and he's going to divide that equally between his son, his other son who's not active in the farm, and the daughter that he has. And so each of them, when they split the $1 million, they get 500,000. Well, you might recognize something is probably wrong with this picture, because how are son B and daughter A going to feel about this, right? They're not going to be too happy, saying, man, how come our brother gets a $2 million farm and we each only get $500,000? Like that's totally not fair. What was dad thinking? You know, that we should have been left on the farm for a portion of that. Of course, the first son is going to be mad, because he's going to say, well, I don't want to split the farm with them because they're not going to be working in the farm day to day. I'm doing all the work and they're going to get some of the money. That's not fair. So, the last thing you want are for all these children to be fighting amongst each other, especially after dad, passes away. And so is there something that this father can do to equalize the inheritance? And so, again, what the dad does, recognizing, okay, I'm going to leave a $2 million farm to my son who's active in the farm. I've got $1 million of outside assets. I'm going to buy a guaranteed death benefit life insurance with a $3 million death benefit. And so now when I die, I get that, that $3 million, my estate has that $3 million death benefit plus the $1 million of outside assets. That combines for $4 million. Divide that by the other two children that are not active in the farm, and everyone walks away from this with $2 million of inheritance. And again, we often see our protection builder or guaranteed universal life insurance product utilized for inheritance equalization cases. Again, the business doesn't have to be a farm. This is just the example I'm using here in Iowa, but it can be any type of business where, and you see this a lot, right? Where there's usually maybe one child who's going to take over the business, and the other kids, they feel left out, and they don't want to feel left out, certainly the financial aspect of it, saying, why did mom or dad leave the business of so-and-so, and we just got, leftover pennies. And so, it makes sense to utilize, as part of the overall financial plan, a guaranteed life insurance policy so that you can equalize the inheritance. Now, again, we're showing a completely equal inheritance here of $2 million each. But sometimes what I see is not necessarily an equal, but at least, I would say maybe equitable, right? What's maybe equitable is not always equal. And so what I mean by that is in this case, maybe the dad doesn't buy a $3 million life insurance policy. Maybe he just buys a $1 million life insurance policy and says, okay, now you each get $1 million. And it's not quite the two that the brother got, but the brother gets more because he's working with me in the farm. So again, we see this tackled different ways, however the parents feel would be best suitable. But again, a guaranteed life insurance is so crucial with this sort of business planning. I'll move on to another example where we see our protection builder utilized, and it's simply leverage, right? Leverage is key when it comes to life insurance. And I tell people this all the time, is if you're working with clients who know they want to leave money to kids, to grandkids, to charity, whatever it is, why would they do it dollar for dollar when you can utilize life insurance to leverage that into something much greater? So, this example here is 65-year-old male, $750,000 that he's got in the bank that he wants to pass on to heirs. Of course, he can do nothing and just leave, the $750,000. And potentially they might have to pay taxes on it, depending on, what type of account it is. Or he can say, you know what, I'm going to use the $750,000 and leverage it into something much greater. And so in the example here, right, you can buy a much higher death benefit with life insurance than you would by not tapping into life insurance. And it speaks for itself that why would you, dollar for dollar do it this way as opposed to leveraging into life insurance? And it's not only with legacy planning. I would even argue that with estate taxes, the same thing. And I've seen these cases time and time again where people don't utilize life insurance to offset a future estate tax liability. And why would anyone want to build up wealth just to stroke a check to the federal government, Uncle Sam, and say, I'm going to pay taxes, all these taxes that we owe, dollar for dollar? Instead, they could have utilized a guaranteed life insurance policy to leverage their dollars and say, you know what, if we think we're going to have to pay, $1 million in federal estate tax, then we'll buy a guaranteed death benefit policy, guaranteed life insurance policy for $1 million, and the premium on that will be far less than $1 million. Again, it's just a way to leverage the dollars you have to meet that need in the future. And lastly, another example that I'll share with you, and this is one that has actually been really popular, I would say, the last 2 years, and many of you are probably aware of this, but when the Secure Act passed, which was, I think it went live the beginning of 2020, it eliminated the stretch IRA, right? So what the stretch IRA impacted was non-spousal beneficiaries, right? So if someone had, an IRA and they had a non-spousal beneficiary, so that could have been a child, a grandchild, a trust. The stretch IRA was always a great tool to pass on money before, but now with the Secure Act essentially eliminating it, we've seen a big impact, and I'll show you an example of how that plays out. So here, we've got a mother who's got $500,000 in a qualified IRA, and she's named her daughter, again, a non-spousal beneficiary, as a beneficiary on this IRA. And prior to the passing of the Secure Act, absolutely nothing wrong with this design. In fact, it would have been a great design because it would have really minimized the tax impact on the daughter. And so if mom passes away, daughter gets to inherit that. And under the old rules, she would have had 50 years. So the IRS, would have said, you've got your essentially your life expectancy, which would have been 50 years at age 35, to draw these funds down. So the money would have been invested. She would have taken a little bit at a time. Probably wouldn't have been a huge tax impact to her. Definitely would have put her in a new tax bracket. Again, that was an ideal scenario, and oftentimes this was a plan that was used for wealth transfer. Well, we know that that's no longer the case because the Secure Act came along, eliminated the stretch IRA, and said, no, you don't have your life expectancy. You don't have 50 years to take this money down. You only have 10 years now. And so if you're the daughter, you're saying, hold on a second. Like, I don't want to take all this money out over the next 10 years. That could put me in a new tax bracket. That could make me pay a lot more taxes than I had planned. Like, she's probably thinking, why didn't mom do better planning? I like that she left me some money, but I don't want to, be forced to take it out right now, especially in my, peak earning years potentially. What does that actually look like? I've illustrated that out here on if she were to inherit $500,000 in a qualified IRA, and we're going to assume a 24% tax bracket, and that the money that remains invested grows at 6%, how much will she have paid in taxes over that 10 years? Over $148,000. And the net income to her, right after paying all the taxes and after taking out money over 10 years, $471,000 and change. Okay, I want you to remember those numbers there. Taxes paid for the daughter over $148,000, and over $471,000 would be the net amount after taxes that she would have. Again, this is assuming that her account grows at 6% a year, 24% tax bracket, and she's forced to take the money out over 10 years, which we know is the case under the Secure Act. What if instead of that, what if mom said, I don't like what's happened with the Secure Act and the non-spousal beneficiary. Is there a better option out there? Of course there is. Guaranteed universal life insurance, right? So we've got a guaranteed death benefit here. Mom says, I'm gonna take out my money over 5 years, that $500,000. I'm going to pay taxes because obviously that money hasn't been taxed. Pay taxes today, and I'm going to use that net amount to pay premium on a guaranteed life insurance policy. I'm still going to name my daughter as the beneficiary because that's what I want to do, right? I want to pass the money on to her. And you can see there the amount of death benefit that mom at 65 years old, we're assuming standard on tobacco. If she were preferred, she could even buy more. She'd have over $1 million, but we're being conservative, we'll assume standard on tobacco, 65 years old. Look at that death benefit that mom has purchased, right? And so, again, the taxes paid in this example, a little over $132,000. Is that more or less than the example where they did nothing? This is less taxes paid in this scenario. Net income to beneficiary, right? The daughter, over $938,000. Is that more or less money to the daughter? It is more, absolutely more. In fact, it's nearly double the amount. And so if you are mom and you're thinking about this and you're looking at these scenarios side by side, you're saying, why wouldn't I utilize life insurance? It's going to be less in taxes and more to my daughter. And if you're the daughter, you're thinking, why wouldn't mom do this sort of planning? I'm going to get a heck of a lot more money if mom does this scenario. Again, this speaks to the value of leverage. It speaks to the value of life insurance, how it's such a great planning tool for so many different scenarios, and specifically our Protection Builder product, where you can dial that guarantee as long as you need. You've got the exit strategy with the ROP. You've got living benefits if someone gets sick along the way. You've got cash value building that's tied to an index as well. And so again, my hope is that here in the last few minutes, maybe one of those ideas sparks some interest. Maybe you can think of a client that you can follow up with that is in one of those scenarios. But what our Protection Builder can provide, again, is a very competitively priced guarantee. You've got so much flexibility and different options on there. The CCT, the accelerated death benefits you can tap into, and cash value growth potential as well. Lastly, in wrapping up, I do want to highlight just a little bit on North American, right? My hope is maybe you've done business with North American in the past. If you haven't, hopefully you'll realize that we're a strong company with strong products, and I appreciate if you give us an opportunity to earn some of your business in the future. First and foremost, we're a private company, and that's really important nowadays. If any of you have been in the insurance industry a number of years, you've probably seen, especially in the last decade, you've seen so many carriers come and go, be sold off, change their names, whatnot. Especially those that are publicly traded are having so much pressure from Wall Street to either exit the life insurance space or make some really difficult decisions as it relates to the consumer. Because we're privately owned, we don't have to worry about what Wall Street says. We don't have to make decisions based on stockholders. We make decisions based on the end consumer, on you, the agent, and really, what's best for the company as well. So we take all those things into consideration to say, how do we be in this life insurance space long term? Because we've been in it over 130 years, and we want to be in it, another 100 years into the future. And so those are the sound decisions that we make. We're well capitalized. You can see there we've got really strong ratings. So it's not like you're working with a lowly rated carrier that's in financial hardship. And we've got stable leadership that's been at the company for decades. So we've got the strength and stability that matter, because we know that life insurance at the end of the day is a promise to that consumer, and you want to work with a carrier that can stand behind that promise. Ease of doing business. We know that this has become dramatically more important, right? Especially during COVID, this was really important, and I think it'll continue to be into the future, because people want to, they might have a bad taste when it comes to life insurance, because maybe they've experienced long delays or underwriting or whatnot. And so we know that people want to do business with a carrier that is easy to do business with. The fact that we have an electronic application on the front end, an online part 2, which is the health and lifestyle questions that the client can answer on their iPhone or their iPad, and it takes about 15 minutes. We've got accelerated underwriting. So once we get everything in, we look at the case and say, can we make an accelerated underwriting decision? If it's a thumbs up, that usually gets approved in 24 to 48 hours. And we have about 53% of our cases being approved via accelerated underwriting today. If it doesn't get approved through accelerated underwriting, we just go through the normal, blood and urine process and then complete underwriting. We only order about APSs on about less than 30% of our cases. So we're really using as much data as we can to try and reduce not only the time that a client is in underwriting, but getting APSs can sometimes be time consuming, so we want to reduce that as much as possible. We allow e-signatures through DocuSign, and of course we can deliver any one of our products e-delivery. So this is not specific to one product. Our entire process can be end-to-end digital, regardless of our product. So you never have to leave your office. As a producer, the client never has to leave their home, and you can still do business with North American. Our accelerated underwriting that I highlighted before, that is available for ages 18 to 50 up to $2 million of face, and ages 51 to 60 for up to $1 million. Again, we're seeing about a 53% approval currently on that. All of our products have accelerated underwriting, and it is available standard all the way to super preferred. And then lastly, in closing up here, if you happen to have a phone, iPhone or anything else, Android available, open your camera and point it at the screen there. That'll take you to our landing page for a marketing toolkit. On there, you do not need a password to access anything on this website. And you can get everything related to the Protection Builder product that I've been highlighting on this webinar. So if you want more material on that product, if you want client brochures, if you want marketing guides for yourself, so whatever you need to feel comfortable or to learn more about a product, you're going to find it there on the marketing toolkit, as well as any one of North American's products. So you can find material on our entire product portfolio is out there on that website. We also have some really neat pieces related to sales concepts, whether it's one of the ones that I highlighted here, or if there are other sales concepts you feel will be more applicable to whatever markets you're in. Feel free to browse that website and look through the different sales concepts we have to help put you in the best position to bring quality solutions to your clients. We also have a host of videos out there, additional resources as well as it relates to technology. So we've got videos that talk about product or IUL in general or different indices, whatever it is. We've got a whole library of videos there that you can access and watch, at your convenience. So again, if you haven't already, hopefully you pull out your phone, open the camera app, and that'll take you to the website, our marketing toolkit. You do not need a login to access any of that information. So now in wrapping up, before I turn it back over to Kathy, I just want to highlight, hopefully you found this product beneficial. Hopefully you found the last few minutes beneficial. My hope, again, is that hopefully you have some clients that you can turn around and say, you know what, I've got a client I need to talk to because they're legacy oriented, or I know they have money that they can leverage into life insurance, whatever the case is. Maybe they've got an IRA that you know about, or they've got a non-spousal beneficiary, and that solution would be a great fit. But try and identify clients for opportunities where you can, promote this. Work with Premier. They're a great organization that can help provide you any marketing material, illustrations for anything you need. They can help you with in partnership with us at North American. And then hopefully you can present the solution to the client, help put the client in a better place, but also help generate some revenue, help grow your business at the same time. So with that, I can turn it over to Kathy. And again, really appreciate all of you tuning in this morning and allowing me a few minutes to talk about North American Protection Builder IUL.
Thanks, Andrew. That was wonderful. We got a couple questions here. Some of them are basically the same ones. We are recording this webinar, so we will get this out to everybody that is on the webinar now, so no need to worry about that. I will let you know too, if you need contracting or have any questions about this webinar, please give us a call back at 800-365-8208. You can call the team extension at 607. Kelly, Melissa, or I will be the ones who will be able to help you with any questions that you do have. I do have another question from a Jason. We will reach out to you, Jason, to help you with some of your questions that you do have. If you're looking for contracting to get appointed with North American, please reach out, or we can get you going on that. And anything else that we can help you with. That marketing webpage, by the way, I'm glad you brought that up, Andrew, because I share that with a lot of my agents constantly. I'm probably out there 3, sometimes 4, 5, 6 times a day looking at items for agents. There's a lot of training on your products, which a lot of carriers don't give. Yep. There's a lot of videos and marketing pieces for your clients. So before you go to an appointment, you have their illustration. You can find everything you're looking for, and those videos are wonderful for the clients because you can show them what they're looking at. If you don't want to print anything off, you have the tools right there to share with them. You can download it. You can email it to your client. It's a perfect website to go to expand. I will tell you, though, once you're appointed with North American, they do have a regular login website to go to. The reason you're going to want to go to that website is to make sure that you're able to see your business process and how it works through. Our team here will help you with the new business as well and get you information that's needed as the process is going. We do have a team for you to help you with that. And then as far as like your commissions, you're going to see all your commission statements all at the website and additional training. If you're looking at the IULs, there is an IUL training you do have to complete before you do write this product or one of their other IUL products. I can't rave enough about North American because I mean I got 2 term policies with you guys already, and just love the carrier, love the benefits, love the ease of the process. I will brag about how easy it was. We had one of the marketers in our office here that's licensed write my applications up, and they went through smoothly. I think we had them with ordering 2 or 3 medical records on top of that they were approved and at a great rating and done within like 3 to 4 weeks. So it's amazing. And that included doing my exam, which is wonderful. So thank you guys for that. But if anyone has any additional questions, please let us know because we're here to help you on that. Again, the number is 800-365-8208, my extension, or I guess the team extension to call is 607. Well, and then depends on the state that you're in. If you're not appointed, the nice thing is you're a pre-appoint company, which is great. So you can do your contracting and application at the same time, unless you're in a few different states that you might have to have your license completed. But anything else you can think of, Andrew, to throw that out to the agents?
No, I mean, you highlighted, I think, all the high points there, and you're absolutely right. You know, even with full underwriting, we are averaging 24 days currently. So even when we have to order records and do all that, it's 24 days or less is what we're experiencing. You know, I would note that right now, again, in the past 12 months, 91.3% of our cases have been approved at standard or better. 91.3% of our cases have been approved at standard or better, and 48%, so nearly half, have been approved at preferred or super preferred. So we're really on top of our turnaround times, and we're trying to put the best offers out there as well when it comes to underwriting.
Wonderful. And something else I just want to tell you about that. A lot of agents will call and ask what a GUL is, and basically you hit it a little bit. I tell people it's a term on steroids. The best option if you're looking for something more permanent. And now I like this option with term on steroids with a kick. You get an extra benefit package for your client to offer them with the IUL part of it. So wonderful. Somebody else did ask a question. Getting medical records from folks in Illinois has been taking forever. Any advice on that?
No, I mean, Illinois is one of the states I cover, and you know, fortunately, knock on wood, we have been pretty successful, especially if it's in the Chicagoland area. And in fact, a lot of clients in the bigger metro areas usually have either a pretty good relationship with their physician's office, or at least, like I have personally, you know, I've got an app where I have access to all my medical records. So I would say try to utilize technology as best as you can. So many clients nowadays can get medical records or information, you know, either online or via an app on their phone. But fortunately, we have, even in Illinois and other states, been able to get records in a timely manner.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. I forgot about that. One chart. If your clients are available to get in one chart to see their medical records, they can get all their labs from their doctors, and all the information and notes and testing information is right in there. So if your clients, ask them about that. They're using one chart. I know there's a couple other different options out there, but I know when you go do testing, if you log into one chart, you can see your notes and your lab information before you have your appointment with your client, your doctor again, which is wonderful.
Absolutely.
You can see that. Yep. David, I know you're asking questions on that too, and there's a couple of things that we can help you with through here and through our team here at New Business. We've actually had agents reach out to their doctors with the help of the client on the phone, and just making sure that they're able to get it. Sometimes doctors' offices run a little bit slower. We don't know I don't know what's going on with their offices, but sometimes they have someone come in and only do transcribe the medical records once a month. It depends on what your application process is with that. It could run a little slower sometimes, but there are some offices like that. But David will work with you on that, hopefully answer some of your questions there. But it's thundering really good here, so I want to make sure that our phone lines don't go off or we don't lose electricity here. So I just want everybody to know what's going on just in case it happens. But Andrew, thank you so much for helping us out with this wonderful webinar and giving some sales ideas. Always a pleasure working with you guys and working with you. So thank you so much for being able to do this for us. Thanks everybody for joining us today. Again, give us a call with any questions that you do have. We're here to help you out. Take care, and everybody have a great day. Thanks.